Welcome to Ayur Times. Today we're looking into something really important, Ayurvedic treatment for traumatic brain injury.
Yes, TBI. It's a serious topic.
Absolutely. It's so complex, often has these really long-lasting effects. So exploring different ways to approach healing, like through Ayurveda, can offer some genuinely new perspectives.
It really can. Traumatic brain injury, TBI, it happens when some external force, impacts the brain.
Like accidents, faults.
Exactly. Accidents, big impacts, falls. And the effects, well, they vary hugely. It can be mild, like a concussion, or much more severe.
Right, involving things like loss of consciousness?
Yes, or big cognitive challenges, problems with movement, speech difficulties, even significant emotional shifts. What's really insightful from the Ayurvedic angle is how it's understood.
Oh, so.
Ayurveda sees TBI as stemming from abhigata, means sudden trauma. And this trauma primarily throws the Vata dosha way out of balance.
Vata, the movement energy.
Precisely. And it directly damages the Majjadhatu. That's our nervous tissue.
Okay, let's dig into that a bit. When a TBI happens, how does Ayurveda sort of pinpoint why those specific energies like Vata and tissues like Majjadhatu get hit so hard? What's really going on there?
Well, with the sudden impact and movement of a TBI, Vata is almost always the main dosha that gets, severely aggravated. It governs movement, the nervous system.
So it makes sense to be disrupted by force.
Exactly. Think of it like a sudden jolt disturbing all the communication pathways. But it's not always just Vata.
Oh, other doshas can get involved?
Definitely.
Yeah.
For instance, if there's a lot of inflammation, maybe a fever, or the person is very agitated, that suggests Pitta might have flared up too.
Okay, the fire element.
Right. Or conversely, if someone's very lethargic, feels a profound heaviness in the head, or is even in a comatose state, that could point towards kapha being dominant.
The structure, stability element. So it depends on the specific presentation.
It really does. It's individualized.
So it's this potential cascade affecting the doshas. And what about the physical tissues, the doshas? You mentioned Majjadhatu, the nervous tissue, gets hit hardest. Does the impact stop there?
No, it often ripples further. Majjadhatu, the nervous tissue, brain, spinal cord, nerves, that's the direct hit, absolutely.
Right.
But we also often see effects on Shukradhatu. Now, Shukra is linked to deeper regeneration, vitality, even the neurohormonal axis. So impacting that affects overall resilience and long-term repair.
I see. That deeper level of vitality.
And crucially, ojas can become depleted. Ojas is our vital essence, sort of the deepest source of immunity and life force.
Like the body's core energy reserve.
Exactly like that. When TBI depletes ojas, the body's fundamental ability to heal itself is weakened. Recovery takes longer, it's less complete. Replenishing ojas is key.
That really puts the challenge into perspective. So, okay, if those are the areas affected, Vata disturbance, Majja damage, ojas depletion, what's the game plan in Ayurveda? What are the main goals for healing?
The core strategy, the treatment principles, are essentially fourfold. They work together. Okay? First, Vata Shamana. That's all about pacifying the aggravated Vata, calming the storm in the nervous system.
Makes sense. Stabilize first.
Absolutely. Second, Majjadhatu Pashana. This means actively nourishing and helping to rebuild that damaged nervous tissue. It's deep cellular repair.
Not just symptom relief.
No, much deeper. Third is Rasayana Chikitsa. This is rejuvenation therapy, specifically neurorestorative, rebuilding brain function, replenishing ogas, revitalizing the whole system.
Rasayana, that's a cornerstone of Ayurveda, isn't it?
It truly is, especially for recovery and longevity. And finally, Shirodhara. This means cleansing the channels, the neural pathways.
Clearing the way for healing.
Precisely. Ensuring nutrients can get where they need to go and nerve impulses flow properly. So fundamentally, the approach is calm Vata, repair the nerves, and restore ojas and function through Rasayana.
That sounds incredibly thorough, like a phased approach is needed, which seems right for something as complex as brain recovery. Can you walk us through how Ayurveda might structure this over time? Does it change as healing progresses?
Yes, absolutely. It's typically phased, usually 3 phases.
Okay.
First is the acute phase, right after the injury. The main goal here is stabilization. Stabilize Vata, reduce that initial inflammation.
What all things are done then?
We use therapies like Basti medicated enemas. They're very powerful for Vata because the colon is Vata's main site. Also Nasya, which is administering medicated oils through the nose.
Directly towards the head.
Exactly. It helps calm and nourish the nervous system right there. And specific anti-Vata herbs are used carefully to reduce shock and pain. Gentle but potent interventions.
Right. So once things are a bit more stable, what's the next phase?
Then we move into the subacute phase. Once the initial crisis is managed, the focus shifts. Now it's about deeper healing, promoting tissue regeneration.
This is where the repair work really starts.
Yes. This phase heavily features Rasayana herbs, and especially Medhya Rasayanas.
Mela, what does that mean?
Medhya means intellect promoting. These are formulations specifically aimed at brain health, memory, cognition, overall function. They nourish the Majadhatu, encourage neuroplasticity, helping the brain rewire and heal.
Supporting the brain's own ability to recover.
Exactly. And then for the longer term.
Right, because recovery can take a long time. What's the focus in the chronic phase?
For long-term recovery, addressing any lingering issues, we enter the chronic phase. The aim here is restoring memory fully, sharpening cognition, building back overall strength, and ensuring emotional well-being.
What kind of treatments are common then?
Panchakarma, those deeper cleansing therapies, might be used here, but only if the person is strong enough, and always under close supervision.
Okay, used cautiously.
Very cautiously. Also, Gritas, the medicated ghees, become very important, along with various herbal tonics. They deliver nourishment deep into the tissues for sustained recovery.
Okay, so with these principles and phases clear, let's get into some specifics. I'm really interested in the actual medicines and therapies. What are some key Ayurvedic preparations used for TBI? How do they actually work?
Ah, yes, this is where the real depth of Ayurvedic pharmacology comes in. The choices depend heavily on the individual, their specific doshic imbalance, the symptoms.
Makes sense.
Let's talk about Gritas first. The medicated ghees, they are such powerful carriers. Ghee itself can cross the blood-brain barrier, carrying the herb's properties deep into the nervous tissue.
Wow, okay. So like Brahmi Ghrita. I've heard of that one.
Yes, Brahmi Ghrita is a classic. Its main action is neuroregeneration. It's fantastic for memory, boosting intelligence. It's packed with Brahmi and other Medhya herbs.
So it nourishes the brain cells directly.
It does. Enhances synaptic function, supports neural pathway regeneration. Is often recommended for Vata Pitta types, especially with memory loss, cognitive issues, feeling disoriented.
But you wouldn't use it if someone had a lot of kapha symptoms, like heaviness.
Generally, no. You'd avoid it in severe kapha states with, say, thick mucus or that heavy feeling. Always match the remedy to the imbalance.
Are there other Gritas used for different aspects, maybe more for mood or clarity?
Oh, definitely. Another really important one is Kalyanaka Ghrita. This one is excellent for cognitive enhancement, but also acts as a mood stabilizer.
Ah, that's crucial after TBI.
It really is. It works on higher cortical functions, promoting mental wellness, supporting neuroplasticity, good for anxiety, depression, even speech delay or mental fog. Again, often suited for Vata and Pitta.
Any cautions with that one?
You'd want to be careful if there's a lot of ama or toxins in the system. Sometimes it's combined with herbs to improve digestion first, and then there's Mahakalyanaka Ghrita.
Mahakalyanak, so like a stronger version?
In a sense, yes. It's considered a very deep Neurorasayana, really for that long-term recovery phase. It works on both physical and more subtle brain functions, speech, memory, awareness. It can help with irritability too.
Also Vata.
Primarily, yes. But like all potent Gritas, you need good digestion, good agni before using it. No ama, no mandagni, or weak digestive fire.
Got it. Digestive strength is key for these richer remedies. What about non-Grita options, powders or other forms?
Absolutely. Ashwagandha churn of the powder is a staple. It's a fantastic Vata balancer, a nerve tonic, and anti-inflammatory.
It's an adaptogen, right? Helps with stress.
A very potent one, and a great Rasayana. It strengthens nerve tissues, reduces that stress response. Excellent for weakness, fatigue, tremors, coordination issues often seen after TBI. Better suited for Vata Kapha types.
Okay. And maybe something gentler for calming agitation.
Shankwishpi syrup is often used for that. It has a nice mild calming effect. It helps improve mental clarity and attention span while reducing that feeling of being overexcited or restless. Good for Pitta-Vata states, especially with agitation or sleep problems.
And for speech or comprehension issues.
Saraswata is a key one there. It's a fermented tonic and arishta. Yeah. It contains many Medhya and nervine herbs. It really works to rejuvenate cognitive pathways and support vocal abilities.
Interesting. A fermented tonic.
Yes. They have unique properties. It's
Yeah.
generally good for all doshas, but maybe best for Vata Pitta. Great for poor speech, stammering, irritability, or difficulty understanding things. The only caution is for those sensitive to the small amount of alcohol naturally produced during fermentation.
Right. What about detoxifying? Is that part of the process?
It can be. Panchagavya Ghrita has a detoxifying action. It combines 5 products derived from the cow and is traditionally used to improve intellect, coordination, and clear dullness or mental lethargy. More for Vata and Kapha. Again, needs good digestion.
And you mentioned Madhya Rasayana's earlier combinations of herbs.
Yes, specific combinations like Madhukaparni, Yashkamadu, licorice,
Yeah.
and Guduchi together form a powerful Madhya. They work synergistically for overall brain nourishment, boosting plasticity, enhancing neuroprotection. Generally trinoshic, good for most people in the long-term recovery phase.
Are there remedies more focused on inflammation or physical symptoms like pain or stiffness?
Definitely. Dashan Mula Kwath, a decoction of 10 roots, is a classic anti-inflammatory and strong Vata pacifier. It's excellent after trauma for supporting musculoskeletal and neural recovery, reducing pain, stiffness, spasticity, primarily for Vata conditions.
And external treatments. You mentioned Nasya earlier.
Yes, Nasya is key. Also Apyanga, the oil massage. Using something like Bala Taila for Apyanga is wonderful for strengthening nerves and muscles.
Bala means strength, right?
Exactly. It helps improve neuromuscular coordination, relieves rigidity, tremors, limb weakness when applied externally. Great for Vata, but you'd avoid it during acute inflammation or fever.
And the ultimate calming therapy.
Shirodhara. Pouring a continuous stream of warm oil, often Brahmi Taila or Shirabala Taila, on the forehead, it's profoundly calming for the mind.
I've heard it's amazing for stress.
It is. It helps reset the autonomic nervous system, restores that nervous equilibrium, improves neuroendocrine function, fantastic for sleep problems, emotional instability, anxiety, that persistent brain fog after TBI. Best for Vata-Pitta imbalances.
Anytime you wouldn't do Shirodhara.
Yes, if someone has a head cold, significant sinus congestion, or a very kapha-dominant condition in the head, you'd hold off.
Wow, that's such a rich toolkit. It really covers so many angles. So, summing up, what are the really critical points for anyone thinking about or using these Ayurvedic approaches for TBI?
It's vital to remember this is a holistic system. It needs careful, expert application. So a few key takeaways.
Okay.
First, Panchakarma. Those deep cleanses are generally not for the early stages, only after stabilization when strength returns and always under proper supervision.
Right. Not for the acute phase.
Definitely not. Second, those powerful Ghrita-based Rasayanas like Brahmi Ghrita or Mahakalyanaka Ghrita, they need good digestion. Strong Agni is a prerequisite. Otherwise, they won't be absorbed properly.
Makes sense. Digestifier first.
Always. Third, in the early recovery phases, avoid anything too heavy or drying, unless a skilled Vaidya specifically recommends it. You don't want to aggravate things.
Gentle and nourishing initially.
Exactly. Fourth, consistency is key for long-term recovery. Regular use of therapies like Nasya, Abhyanga, and taking those Medhya herbs makes a huge difference over time. Brain healing takes patience.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Precisely. And finally, never underestimate diet. Warm, nourishing, easy to digest, Vata-pacifying foods are fundamental support for the entire healing journey.
What a truly insightful look at the Ayurvedic way of approaching traumatic brain injury. It's fascinating how it connects the dots from the initial shock-disrupting energy in tissues through the different phases of care to these very specific, time-tested remedies. It paints a picture of a really systematic, individualized path to healing.
Yes, I think that systematic nature is key. It's not just chasing symptoms, it's about methodically restoring the body's fundamental balance and innate healing capacity. That offers a profound perspective, especially for something as complex as TBI.
It really does. So as you reflect on all this, what new question or thought does this deep understanding spark for you about holistic healing, about resilience, and maybe about the brain's incredible, sometimes underestimated ability to recover? Thank you so much for joining us for this discussion. If you want to keep exploring insights like these, please do subscribe to the Ayur Times channel.
We appreciate your support.
And if you have questions or your own thoughts on this topic, please share them in the comments below. We genuinely love hearing from you.